When I was a little girl, my grandmother was a knitter, and she was just my idol, and I spent many afternoons, many summers with her. And she had to teach me how to knit because I kept getting between her and her knitting. So I learned to knit when I was 7. She had me making sweaters when I was 9. We entered a sweater in the 4-H at the state fair just about every year. I just loved the process of knitting. I loved the feel of the wool. I loved being able to make something myself, and it just gave me a feeling of satisfaction. Just always had a dream of being able to spin my own yarn, to have my own sheet, and to just make something from the very start. I met a lady who did some spinning, and I said, wow, this is possible. I can do this. And so I sought out someone to teach me how to spin. And she's here today, Linda Hofaker. She was the one that taught me first how to spin. And so I came home with a spinning wheel and just started spinning and knitting, and just loved every bit of it. We started out with about 3 ewes and a ram, and that was about 15 years ago. And I selected the sheep that I like to spin their wool. They were Romney Corriedale crosses, and that was just my favorite. So we've just been breeding the sheep selectively for the wool that I like to spin, and so consequently now we have a flock that just has beautiful color, beautiful spinnability, and we just love their fleeces.
In about 2002, our neighbor's farm sold out of the List family, and the new owner wanted to tear down the old feed barn and build a new one. And when he went in to do that, he noticed that something was odd and unusual about it. So he had the Kentucky Trust for Historical Preservation came down and took a look at the barn and identified it as the original meeting house of our Dutch settlers out here. This area was settled by the Dutch from Mercer County and the Louisville area. And so, having identified it as their meeting house, they wanted to find a new location for it. And so they pursued whatever options they could find around here locally, and it fit right into what we here on our farm were doing. We were needing space for Joanne's woolcraft business, and the two projects just kind of merged together and worked out well.
The meeting house just seems to be at its best when there's a group of people here, when they're communing with each other, whether we're having a meal or whether we're knitting and spinning in the fiber so that it will hold together so that it can be knitted. I tell all my knitters to be careful who they knit a pair of socks for, because they're always going to want more. So it's just the feel of a hand knit garment, the feel of hand spun yarn as you knit it. It's just like no other. People appreciate that, and with the natural colors of our sheep, it's a real earthy, warm feeling that you get from the yarn and from the wool. An authentic feeling. It's a feeling of being a little more self-sustaining. Yeah, you can go to Walmart and you can buy a pair of socks, and we spend hours and hours and days spinning yarn and knitting socks. But it just is a feeling of satisfaction and a feeling of joy that you don't get by buying it ready-made. People want to have more of a connection to the past. They want to feel like they have a connection to the goods that they wear, to just like in gardening, the things that they grow. I think that we were starting to lose that connection, and I think that people saw that and were looking for ways to reconnect and to be more self-sufficient and to express themselves in their daily life in a functional art. We never really got into this as a business. It was just a passion. I loved the knitting, I loved the wool, and when I got the sheep, they were my sheep for maybe a week. And then my son and my husband just fell in love with the animals. And when we built the meeting house, my husband said, you know, we'll take this as far as it will go. And that's what we've done. And if people continue to come and want to learn to spin, I'm more than willing to continue to teach them how to spin and knit and provide this beautiful wool for them.